Davis? Yes. Ms. Ferguson? Yes. Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Perkins? Here. Mr. Walter?
Here.
All right, council, you received the minutes from the July 13th meeting. Any questions, comments, or motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of July 13th.
Second.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins? Yes. Mr. Walter?
Yes.
You also received current expenses. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question concerning $15,000 from Madison County General Fund.
That's the Madison County prosecution.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the expenses as submitted. Second.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins? Yes. Mr. Walter?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We have a visitor this evening. Chris Long is with us. She wants to address council about the library.
Well, thank you. First of all, I know you're very busy, so I will try not to take up too much of your time. And the purpose of my visit is strictly informational. I did want to let you know that the library will be on the ballot this November with a 1.5 mil property tax levy. That is a combination of a 3/4 mil current levy replacement and a 3/4 mil increase not to exceed 1.5 mil property tax levy. I think there is a bit of a misconception because of our name and because we operate in Plain City that the library is some way associated with the village, and as you know, that is not true. So it does make it difficult sometimes, we're all very busy, that we communicate with each other. So I did want to take this opportunity to come to inform you of what our plans were so that you know and that you're informed. And the 1.5 mil levy would be for operating. It would generate about $522,000 for the library annually, and it's a 5-year levy. I will be putting press packets together that will be going out in the near future, and I will make sure to send the village and all council all of the information that I have, but I did want to make myself available for any questions that you might have. And I would love to answer those. I know I'm kind of springing this on you tonight, but I did want you to be prepared and to know what's going on in your village. Our service area actually goes far beyond the Plain City area. It covers all of the Jonathan Alver School District. We are a school district public library. That does not mean that we are part of the school district's operations. That just means our legal service area is the Jonathan Alver School District. And that is over 12,000 residents. And of those residents, a little over 90% of those are registered card holders. So our patron database is close to 11,000, if it hasn't exceeded that, because we may be over that now. So we have 11,000 card holders. Our service boundaries go well beyond Plain City, but Plain City is our most populated community in our district, and so we do a lot of business in Plain City. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank
I'm
you.
Nick.
I'm Nick, I'm Chris.
Nice to meet you, Chris. You said you serve 12,000 residents. How many of those are within the taxing district? Is that all of them?
That's residents, adults and children. The population is about 12,000 altogether. And all of those households within the Jonathan Alver School District will see our issue on the ballot. Did that answer your question?
That did,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Okay.
And I had one other question. The 3/4% is a replacement tax, and an additional 3/4%. Is there a
Yes.
design or a reason for the additional 3/4%?
There were a number of things that we took into account when we came to that number, that millage. And it's actually a process that started about 2 years ago. We knew that funding for public libraries and local governments have been seeing this as well. It's plummeting. Fortunately, it's remained flat recently. The newest state budget, the libraries are going to receive 1.7% of the general revenue fund it went up like 0.04%. We were receiving 1.66, which sounds great, and it is good, it's not bad. But we also have to factor in that the pool of money is shrinking. So the general revenue, because of the tax reforms, the pool is shrinking that we have access to. So, you know, our funding has been flat for a number of years, and we are actually operating on the same kind of government funding levels that we saw in 1998. So it's our costs are rising and our funding is going down. Our funding comes from the state and from levy receipts entirely. We get a little bit from fines, book funds, but you know, it's 10 cents a day. The last I checked, year to date this year, we took in a little over $6,000, and that really does not supplement operating revenue. So 2 years ago, we knew we were going to have 2 years really to plan until the next state budget cycle. So we took full advantage of the time we had. We did an environmental study. We really looked at the demographics of our district. We also historically went back, looked at what we had to cut. The biggest thing that we've had to cut since the funding really started to decline was closing on Fridays. And that's been actually a bigger issue than really we first anticipated. And it saves us quite a bit of money every year, but that's one of the biggest complaints that we get from the patrons. It's like, I come to the library on a Friday and I try to open the door and you're locked, and I've been doing that for the past 2 years, and it's frustrating. So we went back, looked at the services, the programs, everything that we've had to cut. We've looked at the numbers of where our state funding was back in 2000, where it is now, and it's significantly less. Back in 2007, here's an example, the library pulled in close to $450,000 in public library funds. In 2014, it was $330,000. So it's dropped quite a bit. So taking all of that information, we did peer reviews with libraries in the state, libraries of very similar operating sizes. We're not going to compare ourselves to metropolitan library systems like Columbus or Cleveland or someplace like that. It's just ridiculous. So we look at libraries of a similar operating size. We also looked at standards in the state of Ohio for public library service. Looked at all of the points where we've really had to cut back, and therefore we've come below really where the standards should be. So we took all of that, gathered it up, put a price tag on it. And we have determined that just to get up to par, to come back to standards, in addition to opening back up on Fridays, reinstating operating hours, we also want to increase materials, both print and digital. And it's becoming more and more important to serve remote users in our district for a number of reasons. So just to get back to par, to reinstate services, to bring back the materials, and to be a better support system for our local governments and our school districts, that's where we came up with that number. That answers your question.
Quite thoroughly.
Any other questions?
No?
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for the opportunity.
Thanks, Chris, for coming in. All right. Move on to reports. Kelsey, you should have gotten an email from me about Congressman Jim Jordan. Robert Taylor's coming in Thursday from 2 to 3. Anyone is welcome to come in. They'll be here in council chambers for an hour this Thursday, the 30th. Okay. Renee, anything?
No.
All right, I have a few things here. First, I attended the Marks Advisory Board meeting at Union County Sheriff's Office. And then also we finished the sergeant panel interviews. And I'd like to give thanks to Chief Deputy Morgan to the Union County Sheriff's Office, and also Chief Golden from the Marysville Police Department, and Chief Wiseman from the London Police Department, they sat in the interview. And after the interviews, it was recommended that Officer Prather, Darren Prather, be promoted to sergeant, which I concur with that. Therefore, he was promoted to sergeant. With him being promoted to sergeant, then I can actually I can concentrate more on my chief duties instead of working as a sergeant and also patrolman, and actually have a consistent shift instead of working all 3 shifts in 1 week. But with that, I need your guys' approval to raise his salary. If I promote him right now to the starting salary of the sergeant, he's actually going to lose $2,000 more than what he makes now, so I need to bump him up to like a first-year sergeant. And with that, he won't be promoted or, eligible for a raise for 2 years till he gets to the second-year sergeant position, or time. So I don't know,
And I concur with that and make that recommendation, so.
So moved.
Second.
First year sergeant pay.
yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah.
Ms. Perkins?
Abstain.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Great. Congratulations.
And lastly, now we will begin the process of filling his spot as with a full-time officer. So that's probably going to take at least a month, I would say. And lastly, the steam pressures and the parade and the event went pretty well, other than everybody getting stuck. We did have a tree branch go through a trailer. We took an incident report on that, forwarded to Renee. I think that's all I have at this time. Any questions? Or?
No questions?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Administrator Bond.
Several things this evening. Most of them revolve around water and sewer issues. We've repaired a storm line separation on Route 42 in front of the bowling alley, and also one on Carriage Drive behind some homes there. And we also have one pending on Converse that we're waiting on parts before we can get that started. Also, we currently have a sanitary sewer separation that we'll be doing some exploratory digging on perhaps tomorrow, as soon as the utilities get marked. Due to the depth of the pipe there, we may have to contract this project out once we do some exploratory and see how far down this is. It may be beyond our equipment abilities, so if that is required that we contract it out, then obviously I would need to come back for some additional appropriations to cover that. Pastime Park is in very poor condition after the Steam Threshers event last week. I intend to get with the Steam Threshers folks this week and find out what their plan is to bring that park back into acceptable condition. I have received an estimate to repair Lantern Lane, the section of that pavement that is failing. It came in at $7,000. That's for 180 feet of pavement, 10 feet wide. That does not include any substructure that we may need to repair or under drainage work. So I will be getting with Renee and bringing you a budget appropriation to cover that expense. I think it's extremely needed. If you've been down Lantern Lane, it's in pretty bad shape. We did have a water line break at Main and Chillicothe. It appears to have been an abandoned service line, so the guys got it done pretty quickly and without incident. And we had a water main break in the park during the show. A vendor or camper decided to drive down a 3-foot stake for one of their tents and went right through our brand new water line. We did have a sanitary backup in the park during the Steam Threshers show. We ended up finding an entire section of RV discharge hose that had entered our system through the dump station and caused the blockage. And we are continuing to work with J.R. Mason on getting the repairs completed at the wastewater treatment plant. hopefully we'll get those wrapped up in another week or two. They're waiting on some parts to get that done. And also, I continue to work with Manick and Smith on getting some we're waiting on an HVAC contractor to wrap up the final estimates for the water treatment plant repairs. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for throwing in a little bit of extra work while in my absence last week. I appreciate it, and everything went really smooth, and that's why we have a great staff that can pick up when others are gone. So I appreciate all departments. Appreciate their help.
Question. The sanitary line break where you said you might need to rent equipment or subcontract
Mhm.
work. You said if so, you might have to bring that back for an appropriation. Would that delay your action?
I have it in my budget that I could
Okay.
cover it. We'll get it done, because once we dig, we're gonna have some steel
Okay,
plates over the
I just wanted to
road.
make sure there wasn't going to be a 2-week delay.
No,
Okay. Thank
He
you.
has enough in his budget to
Right.
cover it. Was not planned.
right. Not enough to get me to December if I do that project.
Any other questions? President Pro Tem?
Yes, just a reminder that our first of what may be several retreats will start, they'll schedule August 13th.
And as you see, Mr. Lafayette is not here tonight. He's on vacation. Did he leave anything for report?
He did, simply Mayor, a proposed ordinance to reduce the speed limit on Chillicothe between 42 and 161. I don't know if that's going to be a separate issue raised by council in discussion, but that really is the only thing.
Okay. It did get emailed out to you
Yeah.
today if you saw it. Did you see it last night?
I brought multiple copies.
Okay. We can address that in new business. And this is Doug Holthus, by
Doug
the way.
Holthus, yes.
All right, planning and zoning.
Yes, we met, and we are going to be reviewing one more time the maintenance code in August, and then we'll have a public hearing in September again. We're closer to that. We made a lot of changes based on some of the feedback from the public last night.
BCA?
There are no issues that require us to meet, so.
Park?
I was out on vacation as well the last week and a half, so we haven't had a park meeting, but my intention is to have one this month of August to address I think our final revisions to the park expectations.
Okay. CIC?
Nothing new to report.
Nothing on personnel and finance, right?
No, no, we've not met since last month.
And fire, anything new? Next month. All right, do you have an update or no?
Just almost done with the wine signatures.
Yes.
We're finishing up with that Thursday, gonna bring the last ones in up here at the farmer's market. So if you haven't signed yet, you live in Madison County, sign it, show up at the farmer's market to sign.
Great, thank you. All right, old business is the third reading of Resolution 1615, property disbursement for Jim Hill.
Motion to approve third reading of 1615.
Second.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Okay, new business. We've just kept comprehensive plan on there just because, but we'll address that in the retreat. I think that can probably come off since it'll go on the retreat topic list. And then you did receive the resolution. Did you all get a chance to read, or would you like it to be bumped to the next meeting?
This is the speed limit?
Yes. We've talked about it previously. It's pretty simple.
I think go ahead with it.
You all okay with that?
What's the resolution number of it?
20-15?
and that is a resolution reducing the posted speed limit in accordance with ORC 4511.21 and Village Ordinance 33303 on North Chillicothe Street to 25 miles per hour.
A motion to approve resolution 2015.
Second.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Is everything on our agenda? Is council wanting to have another executive session? Used. Employment of a public, no, it wasn't employment.
Compensation.
Compensation from a public employee. Yes. Are you wanting to do that again?
Seems good.
Then we need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Thank you for coming. We're going into executive session and don't anticipate any decisions afterwards.
See you.